Hello, friends. Today, I'm going to talk about a very important and very interesting subject called loans. Loans, whether it is good or bad, whether it is going to be a profit for us or a loss for us, whether we have to take loans or not. Let us imagine this and evaluate this critically going forward. Generally, why do people take loans? People take loans for running their business, getting their working capital going with the help of bank loans. There are personal loans also. So, in this, let us limit our scope to personal loans. Personal loans are broadly categorized into housing loan, personal loan, and credit card loan. For the scope of still limiting it, we will take only housing loan for this video. I'll continue with the other episodes on personal loan and credit card loan. So, in this housing loan, how do we generally take a housing loan? We try to give 15% upfront for the price of the property, and remaining 85% is what we try to raise a loan from the banks. Now, we keep a tenure of a bank loan ranging from 10 to 25 years, 30 years if some bank also gives, depending upon the norms. So, we try to repay our housing loans in a model called EMI model. The EMI model is equated monthly installments. Now, this is a very interesting subject, my dear friends. EMI model, how it is structured from the bank's point of view, is very important. We'll try to go a little deep into it and analyze how it is critical for us to make a very conscious effort whether we should go for an EMI or not. Okay. Now, before I go to the advantages, I'll let you know what is an EMI model. An EMI model is nothing but where your principal and interest are both combined and a common amount is given to you, which you will continue to pay throughout the term in an idealistic scenario where the interest is stagnant or constant. Okay, so you will know definitely for sure your EMI commitment or your liability towards your term as something hovering around the same installment. So the advantage why most of the people have gone for housing loan is, you know, this amount is going to be paid by you for a span of 20 years, so you can plan your monthly budget according to that. You're going to purchase a property with hardly about 15% of upfront amount from yourself, whereas the others are going to be meted out by the banks. So you're going to enjoy the property from day one by living in the property if it is so, or renting out the property and taking advantage of that. The third thing is you're going to possess a property for your retirement life. The fourth is, if the property prices increases, you may even contemplate of selling it for a profit and making a business gain out of it. Okay, these are the top some advantages due to which you take an housing loan. Right, now let us come to the disadvantages, which is going to be a real surprise for you. When you are taking a housing loan for, say, for example, 20 years, okay, try to go to the bank after 12 years and ask them what is your outstanding principal amount which you have to pay. You will be in for a rude shock that 75% of your principal will be outstanding. Whatever you have paid for the past 12 years or 13 years is only towards the interest part of it. My dear friends, this is the alarm. This is the shock. Excuse me. Because banks have designed the EMI model in such a way that they become richer. They don't care about you. That is why they try to recover the interest part much before than actually the principal repayment. Think about it. Okay? Think twice, thrice, and even 10 times before taking a housing loan. I'll give you an example which will substantiate what I'm trying to say. If you're going to take 25 lakhs as a housing loan for a period of 20 years, after 20 years, ideally, if the interest rate is constant, you will end up paying 21 lakhs as interest alone, which means you are going to pay 25 lakhs plus 21 lakhs, 46 lakhs towards the property because you have taken a loan. And the beauty is, try to evaluate what your property is actually worth in the market. If it is going to be exactly those 46 lakhs to what you have paid to the bank, then you are just on a break even. You have neither made a profit nor made a loss. Okay? But if the property is valuated much lesser than what you have paid, then you have purchased the property for a loss. You have been making the banks richer, spending your hard-earned money in feeding the banks. Okay? This is what you have to think. Secondly, The ideal scenario, what I was quoting about the interest not rising at all, is absurd. The interest will fluctuate once in a quarter as per the RBI rules, which means the banks will say that they will intimate you as the rate of interest changes either through an email or through a message on your mobile, but this doesn't happen practically. So when you go to the bank, say after 5 or 6 years, and see what is your outstanding to what is actually fixed originally, you will be definitely for a rude shock that it is at least more by 2 or 3 years, which means 36 months you will be paying additionally, because the rates of interest when it increases, banks have a discretion to keep the EMI constant and increase the tenure. So it is up to you to be vigilant, to go to the bank as frequently as possible to ensure that your end date of repayment of loan, which is what is your tenure, should always be the same and not get increased by any circumstances. Okay. Well, I will come to the mitigation of what you should exactly try to evaluate before you go to a housing loan in my next slide. Okay. And last but not the least, imagine over the COVID which has happened now, the property rates have slashed phenomenally. Now you're getting a property for 60% of the cost of what you're getting about 6 months back. Okay. The real estate market is down. So is it really worth to buy a property on a loan and go on paying your EMIs? Who is going to profit at the end? Imagine, think about it. Now let me try to give you some top 10 tips what you have to remember before you start taking a housing loan. Make a calculation whether staying in a rented house is advantageous to you or buying a property through a loan and trying to repay an installment to it. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Try to evaluate yourself. Then if you are convinced that by taking a housing loan you're going to be profited more, go for it. Calculate the loan interest, what you're going to be benefited if you're an employee under income tax provisions, the loan principal amount repayment and the interest amount, how much annually you're going to be benefited. Okay. Then keep the housing loans tenure to whatever you are taking to not more than 15 years, otherwise you will end up paying huge amount of interest towards the bank. From the principal point of view, and if you're opting for a flat for which you're going to take a loan, never go beyond 30 to 35 lakhs as the principal amount. Otherwise, the property may not be worth after you complete the tenure. Now, whenever you are taking a housing loan, needless to add, these days they are giving it as a mandatory option. Take an insurance so that if something happens to you before the completion of the loan installments, the banks will seize the property. But if the insurance is taken, the property can be enjoyed by your family. Okay. Now, never allow the EMI of this housing loan to exceed 20% of your net salary. Example, if you are earning net salary of 1 lakh, try to keep it not more than 20,000 per month. Try to be always looking out in the market which bank is offering you the least interest rate on the housing loan and try to go for it. Why should you try to make the banks richer by paying more amount of interest? Swap the banks and go for the bank which is giving you the lesser rate of interest. Then make it a principle that you repay the principal amount on a yearly basis and close your the housing loan much earlier than the actual tenure you have started with. This only will make you a little more savings on your interest portion than actually making the banks richer in the form of paying them more amount of interest. See that you repay at least some amount towards your principal. Okay? Then monitor the interest rate fluctuation on a quarterly basis, going to the bank and ascertaining whether your tenure has increased or not and whether you can decrease your EMI option or not. Okay? Last but not the least, don't get emotionally attached to any property. After all, it is a house. It is not your life and death. Okay? When you think that your property can be sold and washed off because of various complications, or even when you are making a profit, sell it off. That's it. Be free from your loans or from the complications you have on that. So take a decision from the brain point of view, from the mind point of view, rather than from the heart point of view. Don't keep on saying that this is my father's property, this is my ancestral property, I cannot sell this. No, that doesn't hold good any longer. Be very commercial when the money aspect comes. Okay, good. Now, I'll give you a few examples of who are the bad managers of loans and who are good managers of the loans. Bad managers: Vijay Mallya, Anil Ambani, and Nirav Modi. People who flew away because of excessive loans. They have taken more than their capacity, unable to repay, they could not even run their business with efficiency. They were bad managers of loan, bad running of business ethics, and that made so many employees a victim for this. Good managers on the flip side of loans were Mukesh Ambani, who cleared off all his loans which were outstanding against all his companies. And what a way to do it. Okay? And then Tatas and Birlas, who were always a brand image for their reputation. They never let their employees down. They never let their image down. They never let their brand or their reputation down. They used to clear off the loans without even getting a reminder for them. So be in this segment rather than in the previous segment, and see that you're always free from loans, because the lesser loans you have, the more peace of mind you have. Okay, that is a norm. Okay friends, with these few words, I would like to end my video. If you like this topic, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you get more notifications on more interesting topics like this. See you in my next video. Bye.